if you're going to be selling something high ticket on the end, you need that proof of concept. And, through our 5-day challenge, like I've got literally hundreds of people who have made tens of thousands of dollars during the free 5-day challenge.
You guys might recognize him as Dallas's #1 most awesome real estate guy.
I would say real estate duo. My partner Bryce and I, we kill it, man. We kill
Yeah,
it.
yes, you guys do, and it's been such an incredible journey to see you guys, like in how you linked up, how you went all in on your business this year, and just fought over and over and over and over and over again with consistency and finesse to be creating these 6-figure weekends. So if anybody out there watching, if you guys want to learn how to create 6 figures in a weekend, go ahead and just type a 6-figure weekend down in the chat, because Kyle's doing it often.
Yeah, you've experienced it firsthand. You were there, like you got to see it. Like this isn't talk. You're like, nah, I sat in the room, like I felt it.
It was such cool timing. So I'm gonna share a quick story with you guys. Like, in October, I was moving, or maybe it was September, I don't know. I was moving out of my apartment in Florida, and then the day that my lease was up, the next day, Kyle and Bryce were having this virtual event. And I think we were chatting about it before and saying, oh, here's the next one, and oh, it's over in Orlando. And I was like, I want to come. Can I come hang out? You're like, dude, come by. So I just wanted to, show up and see, what is going on and hang with these guys and just kind of be a part of that magic a little bit. So that behind the scenes was incredible. And I'm going to give you guys a peek into that as well, so you can really figure out how to leverage your groups at a higher level, how to step up your game in terms of pricing, which Kyle is still kicking my ass on, and just keep going at that next level. So you guys want to know how to make some bank from this? Type a 6-figure weekend down in the comments, and let's get into this story a little bit. So how did you get into the real estate coaching that you're doing?
Yeah. So obviously, like, this goes back years. Like you and I met when I was like marketing, like doing agency stuff. Like we met in Mexico, and, as fate would have it, that ended up just gloriously exploding in a like bad way, like imploding, I think would be the best way. But, everything happens for a reason. And when like I had always done marketing for like real estate agents, all that kind of stuff. And when it all fell apart, I was like, well, what do I do now? And my business partner was like, well, he's been doing real estate investment for 20 plus years. And so, long story short, he was like, I'll teach you how to invest in real estate, do all this stuff if you set up a coaching program for me. And so like him and I had been doing that for 2 years, and he really wasn't like he was super smart, but wasn't the attractive character. And then I linked up with Bryce, and like Mr. You know what time it is, like a lot of bravado, but just an incredibly generous heart and an amazing person. And I have a lot of very technical aspects, and what he teaches is super actionable. And Bryce has this uncanny knack for just getting people to take action. And once him and I joined forces, we met at Funnel Hacking Live. We met at Funnel Hacking Live. And so him and I, we got to talking. We realized that we serve similar purposes. We were all about serving people and genuine, because real estate's been good to us. Like him and I both say, like real estate, in some ways, lives, but it was. And we did it through kind of unconventional means other people could, and we wanted to give back. And we saw this event model, like COVID hit, every pivot. And if anyone who has met Bryce in person, like Arne, you can attest, like in person, like he's a personality and a half.
Yeah.
And when
this challenge, like I was when I was doing the lives, I sent him a screenshot of one of my lives after. I was like, I'm just over here trying to channel my inner Bryce and give these guys a show.
Yeah. And so like he's got, And so he had done a lot of like live events. Like he's been a keynote speaker all over the world with some pretty big names. And so like the man can work a room. But when COVID hit, like we got to take this virtual. And so we started doing these 2-day events with 5-day challenges, and a lot of that encompassed group work. And so like that's where you became kind of an integral component. It's like I started reaching out and I was like, hey man, I ran into this roadblock, like what do you think? And like you and I started going back and forth, and you gave a lot of really valuable insight
Mhm.
that honestly set us up for success in ways. I mean, really, it's one of those, like a lot of the kudos goes to you. Is we tripled the amount of ticket sales we had to the front end of our event. Like the event that you attended, we had 70 people at.
Mhm.
Like we generate multiple. And this last event, our final event of the year, we had 202.
Wow.
you know, because we started using the groups a little bit better, like internalizing more of the advice that you had given me. And it's just like, it's amazing when you put it all together, the great stuff. So,
Yeah. It's
uh,
it's so cool what can happen with that. And like
mhm,
I'm curious what you saw as, having the group be that real like community breeding
yeah,
ground of like getting the crew together, getting them unified, getting them in motion. Like how did
yeah.
that play out for you guys?
Yeah. So the everything like what we teach is predicated off of action. And the thing is, like Bryce and I knew that if we engaged, so like if we were heavily involved in like really if no post went unengaged by one of us. So like we wanted to make sure that everybody felt acknowledged. And it's like the main like challenge group got up to like it's a couple thousand people, so like it became work. And you know and at the same time though, encouraging people to share their wins and their successes, because a lot of times you get people who are afraid to engage in groups. But if you're going to be selling something high ticket on the end, you need that proof of concept. And through our 5-day challenge, like I've got literally hundreds of people who have made tens of thousands of dollars during the free 5-day challenge that we teach. But really creating that community, think of if you had a house full of people, you'd want them to feel, invited and warm and engaged. And so we use that, and the sincerity that Bryce and I have to seeing people win really came through. And I think that was the one thing that we had learned. And I kind of, got a lot from you on that, is like these groups are really kind of their own, like living, breathing human in essence of
Yeah.
you have to show them that same. You just can't throw people into a group and expect good things to happen. Like I've
Mhm.
trust me, like in the early going, like when I was really picking your brain, I was like, this just isn't working. Like, I don't know. How do I re-engage this?
Mhm.
So yeah, you start to understand, you have to pay attention to the little details of like what makes the group tick, what they like, what they don't like. And as soon as you pick up on that, man, it's wild, but it's so fun. It's so fun.
Yeah, yeah. Like we were saying that even through the craziness of all these challenges, all these launches, all this stuff, it's truly like inspirational to see people, come in even for something like a free challenge, and then they're like, bam, here's this whole transformation in my life right now. Like I reawakened my business, I reawakened my audience, I've, did X, Y, and Z. And like they're just getting started.
Mhm.
It's so cool to see that.
Yeah.
Like that's what's awesome about it is it's not,
Hmm.
you know, we're not just here in business to sell stuff. The results, the change, the transformation,
Hmm.
what we're helping people through, and that's so fun to see. So
Yeah.
like both of us, in running these 5-day challenges, like it's such
Hmm.
a great window into what's possible. So like I really wanted to remind
Yeah.
that everybody watching, of course we have 5 days of awesome stuff, but what if you had 90 days or a year of awesome stuff and this level of results, momentum, excitement, all this coming in for your business? Like what could happen? So it's just been so cool to um, you know get you guys up, running, kicking ass on 5 days. And now
Yep.
we want to take that to the next level and just make sure you guys have continued support, momentum, and results you could have never even imagined. So, like,
Well,
yeah,
it's
go
really
ahead.
showing them what's like really showing people what's possible because like you heard me talk about it. Like if I didn't have you to lean on and just like in there in the moment, there were a couple times where I asked you questions where you're like, well, this is what I've done that's really been successful with the group, you know. Oh, like do this pop-up group. So like if you're gonna do this, run it this way. And like honestly, it was those things in the moment that like what people don't realize is like you have to look at everything as an integral component because for people that are I'll just be upfront about it. I sell a $23,000 high ticket coaching package on the back side of my 2 day event. And so like if you don't see people who come into your group, like you have to get into that mindset and that mentality of like, I need to give people the 23K treatment from the time that they're part of the free challenge, from the time that they're part of the intermediate like upsell to the final, because, we had 57% conversion, 202 people attended the event. We had 104 people apply to be a part of our $23,000 coaching program.
Even half of that, guys, do the math.
Yeah,
That's a lot of numbers.
yeah, it's
That's
like
many
it's like, was it? We were doing the math. It's like 2.369 million is on the table. Like when we started rolling through that, but it goes back. Like if you don't provide the experience right away,
3.9 million. That's so freaking cool.
yeah, but if it goes back to if you don't provide the experience when they're joining the group initially, because you can look at my wall, you can see the testimonials. We had a guy that came through this last challenge. He had 48 cents in his bank account 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago now, depending, and he made $42,000 in the free challenge. In the free challenge, Arnie. Yeah, in the free challenge. So you have to give that level of value. And you know that was because the thing is like the beautiful thing about working with you on that stuff was you also have the knowledge from when you were doing all of those launches.
Mhm.
So it's more like your expertise was beyond just because you knew, like in me talking with you, you knew where I needed to get the people. Like it's one thing to get them into the group, but you were like, well, we had done like these types of posts and these types of ads. Like this was the type of follow up that we did. Like I reached out to you about things even as far as like messenger bots. Like, hey,
Yeah.
what was your experience with this? And the fact that you knew how to get people like motivated enough as far as like launches go, like you really tied the two together. Like I said, like if it wasn't for your expertise, you helped triple my ticket sales into the event. Like you can't
Yeah.
make you can't make $1 million
And
if you
like
don't have enough people to raise their hand.
what you said earlier is why that's so important. You said treat every part as integral. So
Yes.
like that's one thing I'm so like hardcore focused on with my clients is like, okay, if you don't have your messaging down, don't worry about that other shit yet. Like, get your messaging down. This
Yeah.
is integral. How you word your survey, how you pull from that copy, how you do this, how you make sure you attract the right people. So, like, even though, like, I'm not going to teach you guys how to pitch your coaching program. Bryce has got it. You guys got it. But if I can teach you how to get a little bit more out of one part of your machine, the group,
Yes.
to get you selling more tickets, that can end up tripling those results, and that's just so incredible. So yeah, I love that. I see we got a couple jokers on the live here. We got Mr. Bryce and Miss Trish Leto in the house. Our favorites. Trish
Oh
says
man.
favorites. Bryce has an important question. He says, does he know what time it is?
That, Mr. Bryce is Mr. I don't know what time it is. I always know what time it is, man. I always know what time it is. Trish, you know what? Big shout out to Trish Leto because
Yeah.
her 5 minute lives, like her live video training, like she was my coach like over a year ago. And this lady, like I still to this day consider her to be one of the main catalysts in the explosive growth in my coaching programs. So it was her constant prodding to be like, get your butt online, you
Mhm.
know, and it just with a purpose, go live with a purpose. So
Yep.
shout out to
Yeah,
her.
just like I engage with purpose. Have a reason. And it's huge. Like I also love how you say, treat those people coming into that free challenge like they already signed up for your coaching program. Like if they see that level of
Yeah.
presence and support and true commitment to helping them get the result,
Hmm.
that's a fan. Whether they buy something or not, that's a fan. And that's, so incredibly valuable for the long run for sure.
Hmm. Yeah, it's just about being a good person. I mean, and I think that's one thing that people miss is you have to, because it's they're analyzing you. If you've got a high ticket program on the backside, if you're not treating people with the same, because perception is reality. And so if you just kind of throw people into an echo chamber right away, and then on the tail end of it tell them to buy your high ticket coaching program and everything is going to be different, they're going to have a hard time conceptualizing that. And in these groups, like, yeah, Bryce and I have VAs, we have other people. I mean, our team is 15 strong that monitor these groups, but they can reach out and touch Bryce and I. Like, Bryce will jump on phone calls and close deals for some people. I'll jump on calls and close deals for people you know and it's letting them know, it's kind of indoctrinating them to, like, in the high ticket program, this is the level of access that you're going to get to me, but this is also how I'm going to deliver for you.
Yep.
And it becomes much easier, they feel much more comfortable investing in themselves when you ask them, hey, like, now it's time to make the big commitment, like, let's roll.
Yeah, and that's so huge. And like for everybody watching, I don't know if you guys have stayed on for this whole stream and Nick's part too, but I've always been curious, in learning, like, okay, how do people operate at different levels? If you're just making a little side hustle, a couple bucks, one thing, if you're making a few grand a month, if you're making 10K, if you're making 50K, 100K, 300K, millions a month, all that. And they all have kind of different markers for how they operate. And Nick's answers was very similar to your answer. We didn't get into the other part yet
Hmm.
of systems and processes and stuff. But
Hmm.
like Nick said, like it's about the delivery and like really, really making it happen, making people stick, getting people results, just having a very high level of delivery. Where
Hmm.
if you're trying to get to the six-figure level, you're just kind of scrambling for sales. So
Hmm.
delivery isn't your top priority at that moment. Retention is your top priority. It's pay your bills,
Yeah.
and it's a very different lens to look at. And I think no matter what level you're at, when you take on some of these lenses and these perceptions that Kyle, Nick, Bryce, these guys have, it gets you in that action and momentum and feeling of what are these seven-figure earners doing? What are they doing differently? So if you practice that every day and say, how can I make my product better? Instead of saying, how can I pay my light bill? It's going to be a very different outcome,
Hmm.
So yeah, it's huge. Showing up, delivery. And I know you guys talk a lot about, systems and processes as well.
Hmm. Yeah.
I'd love your take on that. How has, having systems and processes helped, not only run your groups and your launches and everything in your events, but, helped your clients as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, the biggest thing, I mean, we even talk about it in our 5-day challenge. Like, we have a 7-step process to doing a transaction. Here's the thing, it's the same 7 steps for all real estate. So, like, we don't teach any, like, oh yeah, like, ours is proprietary, blah blah. No, it's the same 7 steps, but people need to understand that step one doesn't, like, step three doesn't come before step one, step four doesn't come before step two. And that's the one thing that Bryce is incredible at, is making sure that people stay in their lane of, like, on one of our 5-day challenges, or one of the days, we have people ask questions, like, as part of the homework of, tell me what questions you feel need to be answered in order to do the transaction. And then the next day, Bryce is like, the reason why I ask you that is because those are the limiting beliefs that you feel that you need to do a deal. And everyone's mind's just blown. He's like, you're asking about stuff. He goes, you want to know about contracts and you haven't even had a conversation with someone about their property. And it just, and so like that's with the real estate stuff. But like when we're talking about the challenges and the launches and just working that through a cadence, like you and I've had a lot of extensive conversation with that of like, I mean, I have my stuff mapped out to the day of
Yep.
this is when the 4-day cash machine goes. This is when day one needs to start. And it was like based on our analysis, we start at this day at this time and run it through this. It's like, I mean, Arnie, we pay attention to literally every 2 or 3 minutes. Like we take an active breakdown of how many people are actively viewing the live at one time. Like we pay so close attention to this because within that granular level, you figure out where the metrics are that you need to move. Like I know as soon as a day one of a challenge begins, how many people are going to buy tickets. Like within like five, I can
So
hit it.
yeah, I love that. And that's just like it's such a an example.
I'm like if my team's watching this, I think muted. Am I muted? Can you hear me? Am I muted? It said Zoom meeting is muted.
Am
You're
I muted?
muted, Arnie.
How about now?
There we go. There we go. Cool. Um, but so no, if my team's watching, like you'll hear me talk about like the whiteboard, and I was like, yep, the whiteboard wins again, is because like I'm such a data freak that I'm like, yep, we're hitting the metrics right on. But like there's a process as to how it all goes down, and as long as we are hitting those numbers and following that cadence, everything goes smoothly.
Yep.
And one step doesn't come before the other, and it can get chaotic. Like you can relate, like it gets kind of chaotic and your heart starts racing a bit. But that's the biggest thing is you have to respect the order in which things happen. And if you get too far ahead of yourself, you kind of start to lose your way and you lose your ability to adjust course in the moment. Like you can't, things break so fast.
Yep.
And you have to, and then like the thing is like in the event space, in the challenge space, like in the ascension ladder that we have, like there's such small windows of opportunity to
Mm.
hit it. And even though it might take 6 weeks to get to this one moment, you can screw it up. Like, when we make our pitch on our 2-day, it's well rehearsed
Yep.
in how it's going to flow, how it's going to go. Like Bryce and I talk it through, like, okay, cool, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, and you got to stick it. You got to stick it, or
Yep.
else you can blow it. And but that's what's fun about it. That's what's fun. And if you pay close enough attention, it's going to keep you wanting more and more. But yeah, there's like the systems and the processes, you have to respect them, and like my team, the one thing I say, attention to detail, attention to detail. If you don't pay attention to the small little details, it'll unravel. I mean, you've done launches, tons of launches. You've done your own challenges.
It'll eat you alive and spit you out.
It's so true. It's so true. But that's the biggest thing is like don't get ahead of yourself, and just respect the order in which things have to happen, because I mean, if you do it and you do it right, the results will speak for themselves.
Yep, that's what it's all about. And like, I want anybody to watch it. If you guys watch Nick's part and Kyle's part, what other similarities did you guys see? So this is fun. This is the first time we've had like a back-to-back interview in the same Zoom link with a little fun overlap. But it's cool. I wanted to bring on some more people. We're gonna have some more interviews coming up. Like, let me know what you guys are seeing here. What are you picking up? What are you taking away? And what are you gonna put to use? Because I see so much good stuff. And feel free to drop any questions you guys have too. For either one of these guys, Kyle while he's on now, or Nick, we can catch him in the comments later. But yeah, it's so much good stuff. And for me personally, like my takeaways from both of you guys is something that we all know but all need to be reminded of. is that despite all the challenges, despite all of the potential ways you could screw everything up, you stepped up, and you stepped up
Hmm.
to create a new reality, to create new results, create new systems, and create new impact with your business. And you really cannot step away from that commitment to grow and make that business happen. So, like all of you guys out there that are stepping up, your results are coming. Whether it's now, 6 months, 6 years, it's happening. So
Hmm.
that's what I love about these guys, and why I wanted to bring them on to talk to you guys so much. So let me know what your takeaways are. And yeah, Lisa had some. I think Lisa had a question here. Lisa, can you better describe your question a little bit? Um, she said her takeaways is have details and have good support, all that. Awesome. Cool. So Kyle, what are some other, things you want to leave this audience with on, how to make
Yeah.
the most out of what they're doing with their communities, with their sales, with their mindset? What do you want to leave them with the most?
The if you're building a community and you're gonna have offers, the biggest thing that I can tell you is people do business with people who they know, like, and trust. All right. And just because they're in your community doesn't necessarily mean that they know, like, and trust you. And
Yep.
so I want you to take this to heart in the way that you engage them. Like, the thing is, like, I am crazy blessed for my team, and I'm like even more blessed to have like a partner, like a ride or die, like Bryce, in that when we're making this community, like, between him and I, we go so far. Like, no, like, we're the hardest workers in the room, and we make sure that everyone in our community feels like, loved on, feels respected. Even when there's 300 posts from one of the challenges, we respond to each and every single one of them. And because then when it comes down time to ask them for something, then they're gonna, like, the law of reciprocity is huge. And that's the biggest thing, is that if you have an offer, if you have a product that you don't believe in, it's going to show through in your community. It's going to show through in your sales. Dude, Arnie, it's the reason why you've been so successful, is because you believe in community. You believe in groups, and everybody knows that you're crazy passionate about that. And that's the same thing. I don't know what is going on. Is it me? Um,
You're good. You're good.
my, I don't know what is going
Your
on.
mic dropped for a second.
Am I back?
It just got quieter. I'm not sure what happened with your mic or headphones or something. Hey, can you guys hear him down in the comments? Let me get a like or a
Oh,
thumbs up.
here we go. All right.
There you
Okay. I'm here again. I don't. I think it's my headphones or something. But to kind of continue, what I was saying was that it's just, you have to, treat create the environment, create the experience as to what people are going to get on the backside if they do business with you.
Mhm.
And that's the main takeaway, is that if you're one of those people that's just putting together a community, putting together an offer because you think it's going to make you a quick buck, people are going to see right through that. Like, I'll be the first person to raise my hand that, like, I like when I was in the agency world, like, I was with some people who chased some shiny objects and some get rich quick stuff, and the results shone through. and,
Yep.
and you know, find something that lights your fire, and then start engaging people and indoctrinating them into that. And I promise you, you're gonna reap the rewards from that.
Yeah, it's huge. And I saw a really good question come in. I think it was from Lisa around. So now that you're working with some of those people from that challenge group, what happens with the rest of them? What do you guys do? Do you guys close down the group? Do you open a different group? How do you guys handle that, or keep engaging and keep it open?
Yeah, so we have one group that's specifically built around the challenge. shuts down. You know, like that's one thing. Do what you say you're gonna do. So like if you're gonna close the group down and you're gonna take away the, do it. Do it. So like I tell people in my group, hey, the videos from the 5 day challenge, like they're gonna come down. And when I tell you that they're gonna come down, they come down. And so like I have kind of like a mainstay group that we answer questions and whatnot, but I keep kind of like what Nick was talking about is like get focused, like niche down. So like my challenge group, it's only open when we do challenges and I archive it, I wipe it clean. And so because then that I want anybody who's in that group to be laser focused on what it is. I don't ever want it to turn into an echo chamber. I want it to be if you're in this group, you're focused on the 5 day challenge, you're focused on doing deals and nothing else. And
Yep.
so, like, that's the biggest thing is that it's like I've got a couple groups that we bounce around in that we toss it, but like I have one group that's just kind of like ask questions here and there, just kind of a general community. But then I have the challenge group that's so laser focused. You're here for one thing and one thing only. That's to change your life and make money. So
Yep.
hopefully that answers your question.
Cool. Good stuff. Yeah, because I know we had some chats on. There's so many like, should we do this? Should we do that? You know, how many cases is it? And it's a lot that goes into it, but it's there's ways to make it work for everybody for sure.
Yeah.
Uh, cool. So as as we get to wrapping up, I'm sure people are curious to learn more about what you guys got going on, even if you guys have not been super into real estate, get into real estate. Like when so I remember, hanging with you and Bryce at your house.
Hmm.
I think it was actually the first time I met Bryce. You guys were just kind of explaining all this stuff about what you do and how you do it. And I was like, man, I should really get into real estate. Like this is dope.
Good.
Like, I want in. And I'm in a totally different field, and I'm just like, I want to do that. So you never know. If you guys are interested in real estate, hit up Kyle. Go check out their groups. Go check out the challenges. Buy all
Yeah.
because they're going to show up and they're going to make sure you get results. So yeah.
Mhm. Right on, man. I appreciate that. I mean, that's real estate is one of those things. It's the backbone to a lot of stuff. I'm a marketer at heart, man. I I love talking to you about groups and challenges and all that as much as I do talking about real estate. So yeah, I mean, you can reach out to me, follow me on Facebook, check out Bryce.
Mhm.
We try to be endless. It's not only mindset, it's real estate. We do it all. We do it all. So it's when you do what you love, man, you don't work a day.
That's what it's all about. So love that. Yeah, man, appreciate you so much for coming on and sharing. So guys, everybody out there watching, make sure you guys say thank you to Kyle, say thank you to Nick. Go follow them, buy all their stuff. I don't bring anybody in here with crap. So, anything you spend with these guys is going to be a great investment. So really appreciate you, man. Thank you for also a little candid shout out. Kyle was helping me because he's done like a dozen of these challenges. I was like, Kyle, I really want to kick ass and over deliver with you guys. Help me out. So Kyle was in my back pocket helping me help you guys have the best challenge experience possible. So if you enjoyed the challenge, you enjoyed Kyle's tips on this challenge. So everybody say thank you, Kyle, again for that too, for his time, for the challenge, all that. So really appreciate you, man. And yeah, have an awesome day, everybody. Keep an eye out for more of these interviews. We got a couple more lined up coming soon. We'll guarantee to blow your mind and just remind you guys what we're here to do is build groups, have fun, make an impact, and help leaders step their game up. So if you're ready to step your game up, you know where to find me. We got a few ways to help out. And yeah, looking forward to getting you guys to that next level.